If you just go straight to the calculator, it might give me ridiculous answers. Okay, so I really do. At least look at the tables because you can see the progression, exponential growth, right, on a table. You see the exponential growth at different discount rates. Okay, so let's do this. Things that you need to know is what? How much, so it'd be,
Jeez, come on, I know I did that.
there we go. The present value times 0 is how much now, right?
Yes.
Future value some number of periods from now. Small n means number of periods, right? That's how much it's worth later. So how much it's worth now, how much it's worth later, that's all it is, right? And the present's now, the future's in the future. Good. All right.
Interest.
Okay, and then the interest rate, which is how risky it is, right? It's measure how risky it is. Any interest rate is composed of three things. What is it? Any interest or discount rate. Risk is one, and it's expected risk. We don't know the true risk, so it's our estimate of expected risk. Okay, well, there's what? A true return or a fair return. Not fair, that's not the right term. Nominal return, true return, nominal return, real return. That's what. Okay, true return, nominal return, real return. Most people think that this is about 3%, 2 to 3%. It's rid of our money. If there was no risk, we'd want that. But what's the other piece?
Inflation.
Yeah, and it's also expected inflation. So it's our estimate of the risk and our prediction for inflation. Got the idea? So this is whatever it is, but it's always the same for everybody, right? Expecting inflation for all of us is theoretically the same. I don't know if I really buy into that. I only buy wine, beer, and bourbon. So my inflation rate might be different than people who are buying automobiles and clothing and rent and gasoline. That's a joke. But, okay, anyway, got the idea? Actually, probably the only things I go to the store for are alcohol. I go to the gas station once in a while. If I'm driving with my wife, I always fill the tank, but I never do otherwise. Right? I drive a mile and a half back and forth to work. I fill my tank, every few months. Yeah. So anyway, expected risk is whatever it is for each individual investment. What do we call true return plus expected inflation? It's cleverly called the risk-free rate. You like that?
Oh, yeah.
The risk-free rate. And what we're going to do when we get into weighted average cost of capital, capital asset pricing model, valuing companies, after we finish this chapter, we go into that, the handout that I gave you. It's part of your syllabus, right? It's attached to your syllabus. Remember that? Big, thick syllabus? Most of it is a case relating to WAC cap hit. Okay, so we're going to do that. The risk-free rate, what we use for that is a proxy for it is the treasury bond rate. It's the government rate, right? Okay, so what you could earn with no risk, right? Because the federal government will pay you. They'll either print more money, right? Tax people, something, right? To get the money to pay you. They're going to pay their bills. Okay? So it's risk-free. It's the closest to risk-free we can get. So the whole world uses our treasury bill rate, treasury bond rate is risk-free. Okay, right now that's only, I don't know, a couple percent. So how much is expected inflation right now? If this plus this is about 2%, how much is the expected inflation right now? 0, right? It's nothing, because we haven't had any for a long time. Okay? Could we have inflation in the future? Of course. And that's why the Federal Reserve talks about raising interest rates. They're worried about inflation, one of the things, right? Okay, anyway, but if they raise rates, it could cause inflation. Anyway. All right, and then this expected risk is different for every investor, right? If we went and got a credit card, do you have a credit card you're on? No. Okay, not your parents. You're going to get it yourself. Okay, how old are you? Okay. Actually, we could have him do it. Well, we'll all three go, right? How old are you? Okay. Anybody still a teenager? He is. Okay, how old are you? We got an 18-year-old man and a 19-year-old woman. Okay, the three of us are going to go to the bank. We're going to try to get credit. What's my interest rate? My wife and I credit cards are about 4%. Because we never, I don't know, 3, 4%. I don't keep track of why. Because we never pay any interest. And we use it and we pay it at the end of every month. So we never pay any interest. Even at that rate, I don't want to pay that interest. What's your interest rate going to be?
14.
Hers might be 14. What's his going to be? A male? 16, 17. Why? He is in an extremely high risk category. You are in a high risk category. He's in a ridiculous one. And I'm in an extremely low risk category. I'm old and I have some wealth. And they are pretty sure they're going to get paid. They will charge me slightly more than the risk-free rate. 3 or 4%, right? Why are they charging you so much? Risk-free is only 2 or 3%. Why do you have to pay 14? Because they want 11 for risk. Why do you have to pay 20? More risk. By the way, is he necessarily more risky than her? No, we don't have a clue. You're in a risk category, right? What do you need to do? Establish your own credit. Get credit cards, you guys. You don't care what the interest rate is. Why? You're always going to pay it. What happens if you don't pay it? You're an idiot who's paying a whole bunch of interest now. Got it? And not really making your credit any better than if you had paid it off. It's having the card and paying it. So borrow some money and always pay it, always pay it. I made that mistake. I went to buy a house, and I had 25% down. It's $10,000 on a $40,000 house. Now that would probably be, I don't know, $150,000 house maybe, right? Long, long time ago. And but I saved 10 grand, $10,000. You're like, I don't know, 40 now maybe, 35, 40. And anyway, so I went into the banker and he says, I can't give you a loan. And I says, what? I'm making $20,000 a year or something. I'm buying a $40,000 house. Are you kidding me? I was making big bucks, right? And it's a lot of money in today's dollar. And it wasn't that fancy a house, And he says, I can't because you don't have a credit history. You need to get a credit history. So I told him, well, I'll go get a credit card. Yeah, I recommended that. Pay it every month. I got it from their bank, so I got a credit card. And then he went and begged the loan committee to grant me credit. He had to talk it out. This guy's okay, honest. He's a CPA and he's making good money. He's a manager, operations manager. That's why. My recommendation is what? Establish some credit. Borrow some money and pay it back. Borrow for 1 month. Pay it. 1 month. Pay it. 1 month. Pay it. And then get another credit card and do exactly the same thing on the house. Use them both and pay. My wife says we have something like, I don't know, $50,000 line or credit line, credit limit on one of our credit cards. American Express. They just keep sending us a higher one and a higher one and a higher one. Wow, who's going to do that? I tell her when it gets to 400,000, 500,000, I want to do a cash advance or go to the Bahamas, never come back. What do you think? Crazy. Okay, anyway, so you can build your credit. This is really important because we are going to be calculating this in the future. In these problems, I'm going to give it to you. So this is simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the discount rate. We're going to take the future value for the number of periods, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe we'll calculate. By the way, we can calculate any piece. What's the other piece? I didn't write the other one down. What's the other piece?
Number of times.
Yeah, number of periods. It's the same n as this n, okay? Everybody remember this? That's the number of periods, okay? All right. So if I knew 3 of those, I could calculate the 4th one. You're going to be able to do that, okay? So always with the problems, write down everything you know. You'll always know 3 of those until we get to whack cap in, and then we're not going to. We'll be estimating them, okay? But we'll always know 3 of those, and you're solving for the 4th one. Every single one of these problems does that. And we value everything this way. If you get run over by a truck crossing the road, what's your family going to sue for? Discounted present value of everything you're going to make for the rest of your life. Your family thinks the discount rate should be almost nothing. The people they're suing thinks the discount rate should be real high. They think it's risky that you're going to get the money. Your family's going to bring somebody like me and say, oh, no, he's a stellar student, he's accounting 211, and he has a brilliant future, right? All this stuff. You're going to get rich. You're going to make all kinds of money. They're going to argue the other way. So it's about the interest rate they'll argue. It's about the number of periods. By the way, you guys are all worth far more than I am right now. Why? Because I'm old and I'm going to die. Right? Well, really, if you quit working, nobody cares about dying or not. They're going to quit working. I'm only going to work for 6 years, maybe. Right? 5, 6, 7 years. Okay? How long are you guys going to work? So take what I'm going to make per year times that number of years, right? And take the present value of it now, right? Of course, I'm going to get the money sooner. But, versus you over the course of your lifetime, you guys are pretty valuable, aren't you? Right? Okay? And you'll make me making far more than I do, of course. Even in real dollars, if you don't do something stupid like become a college professor, right? Or work for a nonprofit. You stay out in the real world, the corporate world, you do really well. Okay, anyway. So if your family was suing, if you got run over by a truck out there, they'd be suing for everything done this way. When UPS buys an airplane, what do? They figure what the cash flows out are going to be, what the cash flows in are going to be, and they discount them all back to now, and they decide whether or not it's a good deal. Right? How much freight are we going to haul with that plane? What's going to be the fuel expense? Right? What's going to be the salary expense? Got the idea? What's the maintenance expense? What's everything on this thing? And all the tax ramifications. It's a big job. You find out what all the cash flows are for each of the individual years. You figure out what your risk level is, their cost of capital, we will call it. Cost of capital is the interest rate, the discount rate, okay? Their cost of capital, how much they think they need to earn on it based on how risky that investment is. Got it? And the cost of capital in general, the risk-free rate plus expected risk on that investment. And they'll discount it all back to now, and they know how much they are willing to pay for the airplane. And by the way, Boeing or Airbus, whoever's selling the airplane, does exactly the same thing. They try to estimate what UPS's deal is, right? Because they know if they charge too much, UPS won't buy it. If they charge too little, they gave UPS some of their profit, right? Gave them too good a deal. And both of them know what the other's cost structures are like, or pretty close, right? And so they'll negotiate. And that's what we mean by negotiate. You don't just sit there and haggle about it. You figure out how much you're willing to pay. You figure out what you want to pay, he figures out what he'll sell it for. Of course, he wants to sell it for more than you want to pay. And then you negotiate. You find out whether or not you can do a deal. And maybe you can, maybe you can't, depending on what your cost structures are, right? And your risk, your estimates of the risk level and stuff. Okay? So, and it's one of the ways we decide who we're going to do business with. Oh, wow. When somebody decides to hire you, they may do this. And they're deciding how much they're going to pay you, they may do this. Right? Because you're going to generate a whole bunch of cash flows in the future. When are they? How much are they? How risky are they? They're not going to do all that. They're going to keep profit, of course. That's partly even how they do your salary. Everything's valued this way. Got it? Everything. All right, anyway. So what I want to do first is I want to give you guys some problems. Oh, there's one other thing. How many payments might be what? We're talking about a what? If the payments are exactly the same, no period skip. I don't know why we say no period skip, because if you skipped a period, wouldn't that payment be zero? But anyway, we always say that. Okay, so if the payments are exactly the same every period, and the interest rate does not change, the discount rate does not change, you have what is called an annuity. Remember that? I do too much in principle, so it takes all the fun out of intermediate. But it's an annuity, right? Okay? So then what? There's two types of annuities. You can have the payment either at the what or the what? The end of the beginning. Okay? And I guess ordinarily with loans, it's at the end. So at the end is called an ordinary annuity, right? End of period is an ordinary annuity. And there are tables for that. And in your calculator, you have to tell your calculator when the payment is. So it'd be at the end, right? You tell them it's the end. That's an ordinary annuity. Guess what at the beginning it's called? It's due now. So we call it annuity due. So you got an annuity, an ordinary annuity, and an annuity due. Everybody good with what those are? Is that coming back to you? Has everybody heard this stuff before? Is there anybody this is new to? No. Excellent. Okay, so we're good. So you should be able to do everything. Huh? You don't need me at all for this. 3 days just wasted. Okay, anyway. I doubt it. All right, anyway. So let me give you some information. And you calculate. Know what I did wrong. It doesn't like me. All right, we're going down the page then. We can do that at that. One big page today. All right, here we go. If I knew, let's do first, calculate this, okay? Always we're trying to decide what we're going to calculate. I have a future value, a certain number of periods from now, that is going to be $100,000. My interest rate is 12%, and it's 10. Really what this is I'd phrase it this way. How much do I need to invest now if I am going to receive, if I want to receive $100,000 lump sum payment, one payment, in 10 periods, at the end of 10 periods, and I can earn 12%. How much do I have to invest now? That's the way it would be phrased, right? So we'll get into that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's one. Calculate that one for me. Okay? And then I'll give you another one. So I'll give you several of them right away. Okay? Let's say the present value at time 0 is $100,000. I'd like to calculate a future value, some number of periods from now. Okay? How much is that going to be? You're calculating dollar amounts here, of course. Okay? Interest rate is 10%. Number of periods is 12. Do that one for me. Okay? Everybody got those? Okay, then we'll go on down. Write another one. You're writing this down as we go, right? I would like you to calculate both the present value and the future value where the interest rate is 8%. The number of periods is 15. And it's an annuity due of $10,000. That's 10,000 per period, right? Your payment, annuity due payment. I should say payment, I guess. Okay? So let's do that. Okay? And I want both the present value of it, and I want the future value of it. Do that. Okay? Okay, so once you said this is not new to you. Okay, I'll slide it back up and look at it again. Okay. All right, and then let's do another one. I'd like both the present value and the future value. These should be pretty fast. Interest rate 6%. And I have an ordinary annuity payment. And it's going to be $6,000. Okay? Do those for me.
How many terms for period?
Oh, we need number of periods. Let's, yeah, let's do number of periods 12, I guess. Okay? I think I've got stuff that would be on your tables, I think. Okay?
Do we have the tables on those?
Yeah, you can use the tables for the quiz. You can use your book for the tables. Okay? Or you can bring in some if you want. Okay? So you want to go back and look at those at all?
Can you scroll just one, see the present, or go down like?
Okay, does anybody need the first one? That's not the first one. It's too much to use. There we go. Anybody needs present? We're calculating present value, future value 100,000. 12%, 10 periods. Everybody got that one? That's the first one. The second one, present value is 100. I'd like to know the future value. Interest rate 10%, number of periods 12. You got that one written down? Third one, I'd like to know the present value and the future value. Interest rate's 8%, number of periods is 15. Annuity due payment is 10,000. And then the last one, I'd like to know the present value and the future value both. And the interest rate is 6%. Ordinary annuity payment 6,000. Number of periods is 12. Now, what's the deal? The present value is how much you'd invest now to get those future cash flows, right? On the annuities. The future value is what it would grow to if you made those investments, right? That's it. Have fun. 10 minutes. I'm tired today. Look at the beautiful snowy landscape. Aren't you glad we didn't lose another day? Oh man, it's not so bad for this class. Principal. All right. This one you're doing all those take-home exams, so it's a little more flexibility. Not much. Nice snow is beautiful. good cost to it. And then you're gonna increase it up to really nice stuff. Look at that. And then after that, make a contract. So we get close, 7 answers. You're looking to compare answers, so 7 answers. Then we're gonna make fun of you. Think that's fun, right? You can't make fun of people, just whatever. I wish all our politicians would make fun of each other good-naturedly instead of hatefully. Wouldn't it be fun if they just got up there and they, lambast each other, but they're all laughing, having a good time, and enjoying it? That is the way politics used to be. It really is. They make fun of each other and then they go drink together. Now they all hate each other. Can you believe that the Supreme Court justice dies? That's a long time. He's a little conservative for me, a little. But anyway. But immediately, whoever is nominated, we will not affirm. We will not confirm. What happened to democracy? What? That'd be funny if they refuse to confirm anybody for a year, or get rid of Obama, and then they lose the Senate, because Democratic, or lose the House, which is possible. It happens in elections, and lose the presidency, and then they get some really flaming liberal into the court because they refuse to put in a moderate. What?
It's becoming so two-sided.
Our Congress is bipolar. But it really is just two extremes. Nothing in the middle. Nothing in the middle.
What was our room number after?
I don't know. Do something.
Was it
Oh, his room, 324. Isn't that what it was? 324?
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll tell you what you're going to be doing. So it'll be kind of self-explanatory. Mission started. All right, is everybody done? Did you tell what your answers are?
Yep.
I don't want to work it, so let's make sure everybody got the same answers. Okay, so what did we do? What did you get for the first present value? 32,203.
Yeah.
No. How many of you got 32,203? Close to it. Depending if you're using a table or if you're using a calculator. You use a calculator?
Yeah.
Use a table. What'd you get?
32,197.
Yeah. 32,197. How many got one of those two? Is that pretty much unanimous?
Yeah.
No big deal? Right? How'd you set this up? If you had this sort of situation you want to calculate present values. I take the future value, just my preference. Future value is 100,000, right? Times what? 1 over 1 plus the interest rate, because you're dividing by the interest all the time and take the interest out, right? You're sucking the interest out of there, remember that? At 12%. And it is for 10 periods, because n is 10, right? So that's 1 over 1 plus the interest rate raised to the number of periods, right?
Yeah.
That'll discount it down. Taking the interest out is discounting. That gives me a present value at time 0. Okay, what's the factor that you picked up? If you went to the table, you go to the present value. Oh, if I know the future and I want to know the present, what kind of a factor do I want? Present value of a sum, right? It's coming back. I'm doing this for you. No, I'm doing it for all of them because it's fuzzy for everybody. Okay, but maybe more for you. I mean, a couple of you sort of expressed maybe a little fuzzy. Okay, so it's all right. So what's 1 over 1.12 raised to 10? Of course, it's less than what? How much?
0.3217.
So if you look it up on the table, that's what you get. Your calculator does exactly the same thing. Okay, it'll calculate it for you, is all. And it carries it out more decimal places, so it's more accurate. Okay, that's all. Okay, but so what's worth 32 cents? $1 received 10 periods from now, discounted at 12% is worth 32 cents right now. So how much is 100,000 received 10 periods from now, discounted at 12% worth? Well, 0.32 times the 100. 32,200. What was it? 32,197? Yeah. Okay. If I calculate that, it's 32,197. Okay. Okay. Everybody good? We can do this, can't we? Relax. What's the important thing to do? Which of these four numbers do I know? I'm going to know three of them, right? If it's a sum, or I'll have an annuity payment. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. What did you guys get for the future value? 10%, 12 periods from now.
313,843.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
How many got a number real close to that? Within a few bucks. Okay, pretty much unanimous. How would you set that one up? I'd say the present value times 0, and you can divide this to multiply if you want. You know, I don't care. But when you get into problems that are driving you crazy, fall back on this, okay? It's sort of like you fall back on debit left, credit right, when things get hard, and you can, and what accruals and deferrals are, and all that stuff, and what an asset is, a liability, equity, revenue, expense. When life gets difficult as we go forward, always drop back to that. Same thing here. You can always go back to this. Say, okay, what do I know? What don't I know? So you're not just floundering, because there'll be cash flows at a whole bunch of different times for different amounts, right, guys? There'll be annuities that are 5 years at one level, 5 years at another level, 10 years at another level. Got the idea? So just relax. Figure out where you're at. What am I calculating? Okay? And what do I want to know? Do I want to know the future or the present? Typically, it's one of those two things. Okay? Or you might want to know the interest rate. You might want to know the number of periods. So this would be 100,000 times what? 1 plus the interest rate raised the number of periods, right, guys? Will give me a future value. I'm adding interest, so it's not 1 divided by it. It's just, right, 1 plus the interest rate, the number of periods, so we don't divide it. Future value, that number of periods from now. So what is that? 1.10 in this case, 10%, raised to the 12th, okay? Will give me the future value, and you guys think the future value is 313,843, something like that? Okay, so what must that factor be? What's 1.10 raised to the 12th?
3.13.
Or if you look at the table, future value of a sum, I'm calculating the future value of a lump sum, right? So the future value of $1. What is it? 3.13843? Is that what the table has on it? Yep. It's a miracle. How'd they get it? They took 1.10 and raised it to 12. Everybody knows this, right? Just reminding you. Okay, good. What do you do if it's an annuity? What do you get for present value?
92,000.
Did they start falling apart? You got a 92 what?
92,442.
Anybody else? Got the same thing?
Yep.
Okay. Yep, several. 92,442? Okay. I hope they're wrong. It'd be fun if they were wrong. No way. Anyway. Too many probably got it right. Future value, what is it?
293,242. 43.
Anybody else agree with that? Got a yes? Don't have it? Anybody else got it? We got 2. All right, we'll try. All right, let's try the other 2. Let's do the ordinary annuity. What's the present value?
50,303.
Wrong with you guys. You got the first easy one. That's the joke. It's okay, right? If you guys already knew how to do everything, I probably wouldn't have very much to do here, would I? It's okay. I'm not supposed to already know how. It doesn't bother me in the least. Sometimes when I grade finals and nobody knows how to do anything, it's kind of disappointing. But in the meantime, it's fine, right? I'm okay. You don't have to already know how to do it. Do you know how to do it? Sort of. Okay, all right. That'll work really well. How much are we going to pay you to sort it out? No, probably. Yeah, okay. Well, if I could teach you right away, it'd be okay. When you go to work, then I expect you to know how to do things. I expect you to learn really, really fast. Really fast. Okay? So, all right. But you get, they'll show you how. And then you need to be able to do it. That's all. So that's what we're doing here. Anyway, what's the future value?
83,219. Change.
Boy, those are small numbers compared to the other ones. Why? 6,000 is less than 10? And what else? 6% is less than 8%. Ah, makes a big difference. Oh, and 12 years is less than 15. So all those things are working, right? You didn't get that one?
No.
You didn't get 83,219? What'd you get?
I got 101,218.
Anybody else get either one of those?
Yeah, the 101.
No, then I'm going to use the 101. And maybe he's right, but we'll try it. 101, 219?
220.
And that's about what you got too? Okay, cool. All right. So how did you calculate these? What would we do? I know the annuity due payment in this first one here, okay? Let's do that. So watch this. We'll slow down a little bit now. How much was it? 10,000. Now that 10,000 is not really 10,000 we're borrowing, or I'm sorry, that we're investing, right? It's not receiving, let's put it that way. It's not 10,000 we're either receiving or paying out. It's 10,000 per year for 15 years, right? We assume N is 15 years. By the way, N can be months, days, years, doesn't matter, right? 6-month periods, that doesn't matter either, okay? And we'll get to problems that do that too. Okay, so let's say it's years, and N is 15. How much money is changing hands? What is this annuity in total for? It's 15 payments of 10,000, isn't it? How much is that, everybody? 150 grand. Okay? So we got 150,000. So let's maintain contact with reality. You don't have to calculate that if you don't want to, but it's a good idea. Do you think the present value is more or less than 150,000 if you're going to take interest out of 150? I think it's less. Right? It would make sense it's got to be less than that. Do you think the future value is less or more? I'm adding interest. It's got to be more. And 15 is a long time, and 8% is not a real low interest rate, right? So yeah, it'd be a lot less and a lot more. I would expect that, okay? With that high an interest rate for that number of periods, okay? All right, so what I've got is the annuity due payment is 10,000. And first let's calculate, I guess we said present value first. Let's calculate a present value at time 0. In order to get that, what do I want to do, everybody? I want to discount 10,000 for one period at 8%, because I'm going to receive it. Annuity due? Oh, I'm lying. If I'm doing a present value now, I got 10,000 discounted for no periods. What's that going to be? The first one's 10,000. The second 10,000 I'm going to discount if it's an annuity due what? 1 period? Everybody agree with that? 1 period at 8%. The third one, 3 periods, fourth, and so on, up to the 15th one. I want to discount for 15 periods. If I wanted, I could take the present value of all 15 of those and add them all up, couldn't I? And the present value of $1 now is $1 now. So the first payment's 10,000 exactly, right? Okay? 0 periods, right? Okay? 1. All right? So I could do that, but that's really cumbersome. What do I do instead? Instead, we have tables, or you have a calculator to do it, where they have added up. Actually, they use a formula. But effectively, they have added up all 15 periods. 1.0 for the first payment, right? What's the second one? If you look at the present value of a sum table, let's go to the present value of a sum table, and let's go to 8%. The first $1 I'm receiving now is worth $1, right? What's the second one worth? Go down 1 period at 8%. What's it worth? About 92 cents? 93 cents? Right? What's the next one worth? The third one. Go down one more. 8%. 1 period is about 93 cents. 2 periods is what? 85. What about the next one? 79. And so on. So you go down 14 of them, right? Add them up, and then you'd add 1 to that for the first payment, right? Flip over to the present value of an annuity due table. We got one of those, don't we? Oh, we don't have one.
Yeah, we do.
But we do have one. Do we have a present value of an annuity due?
We have present. 3.6.
Oh, we do. Okay. So we do have that one. Okay. So we have a present value. One of them we don't have. I can't remember which one it is. Okay. So we got a present value of an annuity due table. What have they done on that present value of an annuity due table? What page is it on?
342.
342. Yeah. Okay. What do? You go to the 8% column. Okay. And look at the first payment. Look at 1. If it was 1 payment, what is it? It's 1.0, isn't it? That's because it's an annuity due. $1 now is $1 now. What if it's 2? What if it's 2 payments? It's 1 plus what? The 83 cents for the, well, for 1 period, right? the 83 cents for one period? It's 1.83, is it? 192, it's 92 for the first one. 192. And then the third one down, what is that going to be? You're going to add that 83 cents to the other one, or whatever it was, right? 85 cents. Got the idea? So go down to, what, 15? Right? It's 15 payments. Okay? What do you get when you go to 15 payments? What's the factor? 9.24424. What does that represent? That represents 15 factors added up for all 15 payments. Everybody got it? And then you're going to take that times your 150, times your 10,000, come on, Steve, times the 10,000, and what's the whole thing worth? What's the whole 150 worth? 92,000. Yeah, 10,000 times 9.244 is 92,442, I guess, rounded. Everybody got it? So that's where we got 92,442. In your calculator, if you're going to use your calculator, what do you have to do? Put in a 0 for the payments at the beginning, right? It asks for the beginning or the end, and it's either a 0 or a 1, am I right?
Oh, no.
0's beginning, or it just says beginning and end, maybe, depending on your calculator. It's nice if it says beginning and end. If it asks for 0, 1, 0's the beginning, for now, right? And 1 is at the end. Everybody got it? That's all we're doing. And it calculates it for you. But what it does is it comes in with that factor. There's a formula for doing that, and it uses the formula. It goes directly to it. Got it? If you want, you can memorize the formula and do it yourself. I don't care. Right? It's the sum of them all. Any math whizzes you like to use that formula? Yeah. Why would you have a calculator? But feel free. Yeah, okay. By the way, I would never use a calculator to do this. I would use Excel, of course. Because I can build a little spreadsheet and all the numbers come out automatically. But you know what? I know what I expect to see. And if I see something else, I know I put in some data wrong. You have to be to that point, or you will give me ridiculous answers with your calculator. And I will laugh at you. You'll give me a present value that's more than the future value. I'm going to say, God, I want to do business with you. Right? You loan me $100,000 and I'll pay you back 90 later, and you'll be happy. You're thrilled to lose 10 grand, right? Okay, so, use your head on this stuff. No, you got to know how to do it. People will think you're crazy if not. All right, let's get the future value. What would you do instead? Oh, by the way, what kind of a factor was this? This is a present value of an annuity due. You guys good? All right. So now let's do what? A future value of an annuity due? What's our annuity due payment? This will be fast now again. 10 grand, which totals 150, right? Only this time I'm putting in money right now, and then a year from now, and then a year from now, right? 150 spread over the 15 deposits I'm making, right? What's it going to grow to? Well, what do? I want to get the future value 15 periods from now of that whole investment stream, of the whole 150. So I'll go look up a factor, which is what?
We don't have it.
I can't get it. But what can I do? I can go to the future value of an ordinary annuity, go to that table, right? And what happens there? That's assuming the payments are at the end. So what's the first factor in the 8% column? 15 periods. 1.0 is it? Why is it 1.0? Because it's $1 deposit at the end of the period. At the end of the period is worth $1. I want to compound the factor then times what? 1.08. I need to add 8% to every single one of the years, don't I? So what you could do is you could go down to 15 periods and get a factor. That's only got 14 periods interest in it. I want 15 periods, right? On the first one and then 14 on the second one. What is that factor? What's the factor for, that would be an ordinary annuity one, right? What is that factor?
27.150.
I'm missing a year's interest on every single one of them. Take it times 1.08, and what do you get? It's the factor we're going to use. Everybody have the same answer. You use calculators? You use a table. What's that? And the CPA exam may not give you, they will not give you a calculator. They'll calculate present values.
29.3242.
Okay. What's worth 29.32? $1. deposited at the beginning of each period for 15 periods, right, instead of the end. The 27 was at the end. This is at the beginning. Take 10,000 times 29.32427. What did you get? It's a miracle. 293,243, right? That's how you do it if you've got tables and you don't have the one you want. Here's a quick and dirty way. Go down one more year. So go to 16 years. What's the factor for 16 years? 30.32428. Subtract 1 from it. That's the first year that was not compounded. And you have 29.32428. Ta-da! Oh, right? Because we got 14 years or 15 years with compound interest on them all. Big deal. So you have one table and not the other. Convert. I used to teach with a guy that would give students one table, and they had to convert to do all of these tables. I think it's kind of an ass to do that, personally, because there's too much computation, not enough thinking. So we're missing one. I think your authors leave that out on purpose so that you have to figure it out. Can you do this? It's no big deal, is it? How many of you have that answer? Is it 293, 243? Did you use calculators or did you do it with a table? How many used the table to do it? None of you. What if I didn't let you use the calculator? I only had you do the table, which is going to be the CPA exam problem. They give you a calculator to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Good luck. Do you use a formula if you know the formula? Absolutely. Table's still faster. Yeah, table's still faster. Although, if you're really well prepared for the CPA exam, you probably have enough time. All right, guys? So you want to do the other two? Real quick? Is that all right? We've got tables for those two, so it's not a very big deal. Okay? And do I care if you use a table or not? Not in the least. I could care less how you do this. If you hand me the right answers, you hand me the right answers. And if you don't, I'll just be laughing. Okay? And you know what? The scores on these quizzes are just absolutely awful. How could that be? Because you guys can't read, I think. I'm going to tell you what the cash flows are. I'm going to tell you what the discount rate is. I'm going to tell you whether I want a present value or future value. I won't use those words. How much would I have to deposit now? How much will it be worth later? How much am I willing to pay for a truck, building, airplane? How much is the orchard worth with payments clear across? There's a neat problem in the book that does that. Be sure to work that one. And I'm going to make up a monster for you next time. Unbelievable problem for you to work. What I want you to do now is work all the ones I suggested on the syllabus, which is every single one of the exercises. Did you notice that? Have them done for next time. Okay? If you have any questions about any of them, we'll do it. Okay? And then we'll start doing some tough stuff. Okay, so what do we do then to get this present value? What do you do here? I have an ordinary annuity payment, which means it's the end, right, guys? So if I'm doing a future value, but I have one less period interest on it. If I'm doing a present value, what's the deal? I have one more period's interest. Okay? It's different, isn't it, on the two of them? Okay? All right, so anyway, the payment is $6,000. It's 12 times. What's the total amount? 72 grand for value. The present value is going to be less than 72,000. The future value is going to be more. So I know that even before I start. Okay, I'm going to get, let's say we're going to do the present value at times 0. What do I want? I want a present value of a ordinary annuity factor where the interest rate is 6% and the number of periods is 12. Right, guys? What's that factor?
8.38384.
So 838 times 6,000, what is 6,000 times 8.38384?
50,303.
That's it. If I invest $50,303 now, I can take out 6,000 at the end of each period for 12 periods. I can take out the 72,000 and I will have earned how much interest? Looks to me like about 22,000 interest. And that will be what percentage rate that I earned? 6%. Ta-da! That's it, right? This is really powerful, you guys. Really powerful. Okay? If you are going to be a finance type, whatever that means, which you think you're going to do a finance career instead of accounting, whatever that means again. I don't know, they're both the same thing. If you think you're going to use this all the time, every day of your life. If you're an accountant, you will too. Every day. We think everything like this. A dollar is not a dollar is not a dollar. Or people will fleece you and your companies, right? If you think a dollar 10 years from now is the same as a dollar now, I'm going to take all your wealth away from you. Right? People do it all the time too. Okay? Oh yeah, it sounds great. How about if I told you I was going to give you $100,000 to work for me next year? And you know good, doesn't it? You'd probably take it. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm not going to pay you for 50 years. I'll invest enough in an account, guaranteed, right? So that you'll have your 100,000 at the end of 50 years and it'll be paid to you. How much am I really paying you? That's how much I'm going to earn on that account. I invest it high, right? But a lot less than 100,000. You don't want the deal now, do you? You care when you get paid. Okay, anyway. All right, what's the other one look like? Ordinary annuity payment again. How much? 6,000. Still the 72,000, right? Only this time, what do I want to know? Future value. When? It's 12 periods from now, right? Okay. And so what I want this time is a future value of an ordinary annuity factor. We have that table too, conveniently, huh? How much is that one? By the way, do I think that's going to be more than 12 or less than 12? This one was less. How come? By taking interest out. This is going to be more, of course, right? Why? Adding interest. So what is it? Remember how much time we spent on this in principle? Forever. People understand. How much is it? And most still didn't. Your clients are not going to know about this. Those guys are going to go get business jobs, right? Marketing, management, human resources. And they're not going to know this. They're going to be totally dependent on you to protect them. That's what you need to do, right? Keep them out of trouble. Okay? So how much? Your clients and the co-workers and so on. How much is this? What's worth $16.86? $12. Invested $1 at the end of each year for 12 years. It's ordinary, right? Annuity. Interest added at 6%. All added up gives me how much? It'd be $16.87 for $12, but it's $12 times 6, right? 12 payments. So 6,000 times 16.86994. How much is that? It's a miracle. Okay, so we got it. All right.
I got the 83.
I'll just wrong key somewhere. You punched the wrong number wrong. Yeah. You know, I made a mistake once too. I thought I'd made one. I used to work with a guy that said that all the time. I really like that, don't you? I made a mistake once. I thought I made one. Get it? Yeah. Okay. See you later. Work, you guys. Work, work.